Hello guys and welcome back to our channel. Recently Etsy made an announcement that starting August all images in the Etsy homepage will be displayed in square format. They ran an experiment and they found out that square images convert better. So starting this August, all the images in the Etsy will be changed into square format. As a seller, you are supposed to update your listing, at least the thumbnail image, as soon as possible. This news has been causing panic around the Etsy seller community. But do not worry, today in this video, I will show how you can bulk resize your rectangular images into square format. Let's dive into this video after this introduction. Now before we talk about bulk resizing, let us see what are the different methods or approaches we have when we want to change a rectangular image into square images. I have identified 4 methods. Let us go through them one by one. The method 1, I have an example on the screen. This is a rectangular image with a plain white background. So when you have a solid color background, this is quite simple to make it square. All you need to do is go to image, canvas size, and you can look at the size. The width is 1200 and the height 1307. So we'll change the height. So we'll change the width to 1307 and this image becomes square. Now resizing them has caused some negative spaces on the left corner and the right side. We are going to create a solid color, select white, hit OK and drag this down. So this is the most simple method of resizing your portrait or rectangular images into square. Now let us talk about the approach 2. If you have this kind of image, this is again very straightforward. Go ahead and select the crop option. Then change the aspect ratio to 1:1. Center the image and then crop it. Pretty straightforward. So these two are quite straightforward. Now let us move on to some challenging images. So how do we change the images into square here? Well, we can extend the borders. Let me show you. First, unlock this background. We'll go to image, canvas size. Width is 4000, height is 3400. Let us change the height to 4000. Hit on OK. There are negative spaces on the top and on the bottom. Now, make a selection of the top part. Make sure you do not touch the product, in this case the t-shirt. Now, press Ctrl J. It will duplicate the layer. Let me show you. It duplicated this part. Now, press Ctrl D. Hold Shift on your keyboard and go to this anchor point and stretch this out. Similarly, do the same step at the bottom. Make a selection. Go to the main layer. Press Ctrl J to make a duplicate. Press Ctrl T to activate the anchor point. Hold Shift on your keyboard and then drag this anchor point to stretch out. So we stretched out the background without making any stretching on the product. And for this text, you could use clone step and remove this. There's another approach to extend the background by flipping. Let me show you. Same example. We change it into square. Now, select the layer, press Ctrl J and duplicate the entire layer. Press Ctrl T. On this panel, select the reference point on the top. Right click, flip vertical. Again, go back to the main layer. Press Ctrl J to duplicate. Press Ctrl T. This time around, select the reference point on the bottom. Come over here, right click, flip vertical. On the bottom part, you could see some part of the t-shirt, but not to worry. You can select all these 3 layers and then zoom them out. That's it. This was method 3, making square images by stretching the background. Now let us move to the most challenging part. How do you change images like this into square format? We cannot extend the background. We cannot add that solid color in the background. There is nothing but inevitable cropping. Well, there is a smart way to make these rectangular images into square. And the smart way is using a templated listing. Let me show you. This is a templated listing. If you take a look at this image, so this is a square image and the creator has very smartly converted the square image into a rectangular image. The same principles can be applied vice versa. This is a rectangular image. We could add some template value on the left side and change this into a square image. By adding this template, you could add more value to your listing. And this is the smartest way to go about of changing your listing images to square format. Let me show you a few more examples. You could show different variations in colors or you could add other valuable information on the template. So these are the 4 methods that you can use to change your images from rectangular to square format. Now, let us take a look how we are going to automate this and apply this resizing principles to more than 500 images. There are 2 methods to apply this resizing principle into a large number of files. Method 1 is using Photoshop Action and method 2 is using a Smart Object Templated method. I'll show you both the methods. At the end, you decide which one is more appropriate for your use case. So without much ado, let us take the first example and see how Photoshop Action works. What is a Photoshop Action? Photoshop Action is similar to Microsoft Macro. It records step-by-step process of all the operations that we perform in Photoshop. Once the steps are recorded, that action can be played back into a single file or into a batch of 1000 files. Let me demonstrate. To access Photoshop Action, go to Window and hit on this Action. This is the Action panel. Go and click on this folder. We'll name this as Resize Actions. This is our action set. Inside the action set, we will be creating different actions. Hit on this plus icon. New action, we'll rename it as Resize to 1500 solid white. And hit on record. When I hit on record, you can see this icon turns into red, which indicates that whatever operations that I'm about to perform, Photoshop will record that steps. Beside this red icon, there's a stop button. We can stop that. And there's also a playback button. We'll talk about the playback a bit later. First, let us record an action. I'll hit on this record button. I'll hit on this begin recording button. Now, we want to resize this image into 1500 pixels. To go about that, the first step would be unlock this padlock. Go to File, Automate, Fit Image. Over here, if you want to resize them into 1500, put the value 1501 for the width as well as the height. Don't click on Don't Enlarge. Let this be alright. Skip this checkbox. Hit on OK. Next, go to Image, Canvas Size. Over here, select Pixels. Change the width to 1500. Height to 1500. Hit on OK. Now, select this solid color. Choose white color. Drag this layer to the bottom. Go to Layer and flatten image. Now I can go and stop this action. Take a look at all the steps that Photoshop has recorded. This is Photoshop Action. Whatever actions I performed, it had recorded. Now I'll close this image. I'll open a different image. Maybe these two. Once the action is recorded, you can play back this action one image at a time or in bulk. Let me show you how it runs, how we can play back one image at a time. So open the image, click on play, and bang. Within a click, this image has turned into a square. Save, select this action, click on play. This image has turned into square. So this is how you apply Photoshop action at one image at a time. Similarly, you could record action for all the 4 approaches that I discussed earlier. For cropping, for stretching the background, or using the templated listing as well. Once the action has been recorded, you can bulk apply them to a batch of files. Let me demonstrate how you can apply the action into a batch of files. I have 27 items in this folder, and I'll be using the action that I just recorded and resize all these landscape images to square. How we are going to do that? To do that, we'll go to Photoshop, go to File, Scripts, Image Processor. This is our image processor dialog box. The first option is select the images to process. Click on Select Folder. This is the folder that we want to resize. Hit on Open. If there are subfolders, you can select subfolder as well. Option 2 is select the location to save processed images. Again, click on Select Folder. I'll create a new folder here. I'll name this Next Gen Resized Square. Click on Open. The third option is File Type. File type will save it as JPG. You do not want PSD files. And the quality will keep it at 12. The quality when you save in Photoshop, it's 1 to 12, 1 being the minimum and 12 is the highest quality. So we'll keep the quality as 12. Do not get confused by the resize to fit command. I will ignore this for now. Do not just turn on and put values over here. It has nothing to do with the actions. The most important part is the fourth part, which says run action. We recorded an action to resize the image. Select the resize action set, and then the one action that we resized, click on that. When I hit run, image processor will open the images and it will run the action that we just recorded. Let me hit on run and we'll see the magic. So it has already started resizing the images. It is already playing our action, and you can see how fast this is working. You could look at the watch, it's 3:18 p.m. and all the 27 images, I think it will hardly take 1 minute to resize them. And it's done. Yeah, that was quite fast. All the images that we have here are resized. Let me show you. Look at the size here, 1500. All of them resized within the span of a minute. You can record similar actions and play this action for all your 1000 listings or 1500 listings. This will work. Now moving from Photoshop action, the other approach to bulk resize your image is using Photoshop template. So now instead of recording a Photoshop action, we'll create a Photoshop template. Let me show you. I'll go to File, New. I'll select width as 1500, 1572. Click on Create. And there are lots of guides. I will remove this guides for now. Guides, clear guides. Okay. We'll turn this off. And we'll add a solid color. Then we'll select white as the color. And we can delete the near 0. Now, let me go back to the same example. Next Gen Bikers. Let me grab this yellow image. Place it at the center. Press Ctrl D. Take it to the edges. hit enter. Now press Ctrl on your keyboard or Command if you're in Mac. Select this thumbnail and left click on this. It will make a selection. Now hit on this plus icon and create a new blank layer. Go to Edit, Fill, and fill it with any color you want. This pink color works good. Hit on OK. To make a deselect, press Ctrl D or Command D. Now I can go ahead and delete this image. Layer 1, right click and select Convert to Smart Object. And we'll rename it as @Resize. Now save this file as a PSD template. Now we have successfully created a Photoshop template file. This template has two parts. One is the static part. In this case, it is a solid white color. And the dynamic part, which is the smart object layer. The dynamic part is where we are going to add our rectangular image listings and it will change into square. You could create more complex templates. Let me show a few that I have created. This is another template that I created for this video. You can add different static elements that would add more value to your listings. In this case, I added the logo, then star seller, and some information that fully editable printable invites. You can add anything. Now to change the static template to a dynamic, we'll add a smart object layer. So if you remember the steps, the first step is to grab one image and pull it on the center, drag it off the right, hold Ctrl or Command on your keyboard, go to this thumbnail, layer thumbnail, single click, it will make a selection, create a new layer, go to Edit, Fill, add any color, blue works fine, hit on OK, press Ctrl D, this will make a deselection, this will deselect, and now you can delete this layer. Now layer 6, right click and click to Convert to Smart Object, and you can rename this as @Design. Now I'll pull this layer beneath Group O. Maybe I'll add some inner shadow. Change the angle maybe some width. Yeah, this works fine. We can save this file. So this is again a template. This @Design being our dynamic part. Now once the templates are ready, let us see how you can automate this and bulk change your listings to square. So over here, I have some invites, around 22 listings. And if you look at the images, they are all vertical landscapes. And there's nothing that we could do to resize them. Right? And the template that I just showed you, Lenny template, you will be using this template. To automate this, we'll be using Bulk Mockup Photoshop plugin. Let me show how that works. Go to Plugins, select Bulk Mockup. On the Bulk Mockup, the first option is PSD template folder. This is the template with one item. You'll hit Open. The second option is Design Files folder. So design file here refers to the listing images. Then we have the Export folder. Create a new folder and we'll call this Export. Hit on Open. Then we have different resize methods. There are like the resize methods I showed you previously. Those things can be applied with this plugin as well. For now, let us choose Fit to Canvas without cropping. Now, I'll click on Start Generated. It will open the template and it will replace the dynamic smart object layers. Let us wait for a while Bulk Mockup works. Then I'll show you the Export folder and how our outputs come out. bulk mockup has done its job. Let me open the export location. Isn't this amazing? And these are our listing changed to square. If you're watching this video till the end, you can go ahead and watch this video, which you'll find valuable. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.